it reports back to the mainframe.
So if you, okay, but in essence, the groups that you're sort of working with
Yeah.
do not have, or do they have, let's say, military might to back up anything?
The others?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I've got two things to say about that.
Mhm.
Every single war is theater. They call it the military theater.
Mhm.
Humans on this planet, the 7.0 humans, have never fought a real war ever. That's a joke. If you think these people aren't using frequency weapons, I use frequency weapons as ground command. I mean, we all use them. They're just only talking about scalar and scalar weapons now. That's a joke compared to the stuff that we all use. So no, do you think that the US military, they're scared of the military? No, not even a little bit.
No, I'm not thinking they are. What I'm asking is
They'd like for them to stop destroying the surface.
okay, so that what they would, okay, so then let's say that's all true. And then the question is, at this point, why hasn't it already turned this whole ship around?
Natural law.
Okay, meaning
you could only defend yourself or the life of an innocent. You cannot just go wiping out people and civilizations for no reason. Now, that's part of it. The second part is that, you know, they're given an opportunity to make a decision, right? With enough education, and they are getting educated, not only by us, but by others too, and we're trying. You know, as an example, one of the others, I call him General Other, delivered a biofeedback machine that had cured over 200,000 cases of COVID from China with a very little scared Chinese doctor along with it, right, to the White House almost a whole year ago, right, when Trump was in office. And he chose to push vaccines instead, okay? He's had the cure for COVID, if it's such a thing, and SARS, and COVID-66 is the one that's actually
but
deadly.
it's not, it's a bioweapon. It's not it doesn't have
Absolutely. It was created in 1964 in a lab, right? So anyway, the point is that there are groups going level by level down, right? The last one to go was a few weeks ago, and that was the Sanhedrin, gone. Now you have people like Klaus and Richard Weiss and Trump and all these other members of the order on that level, all trying to run the show. So they're so predictable. I would almost be willing to put money on the fact that we're not only going to go to pretend war with Russia, we're going to go to pretend war with China too at the same time, because they now have the SCO, which has been enforced for a long time. I would venture to guess there's going to be Russian aggression any day now in the news.
Well, my understanding is that would be an illusion, because Russia is actually secretly aligned with us in our secret space program. So they're deep.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, but China is actually perceived as a real enemy. So your thinking is, you know, because again, this whistleblower said the planned war with China, and actually it was also Billy Meyer and the Pleiadian prophecy. What I guess I'm asking now is that, given the stage is set, for example, is there going to be interference to this war, you know, to this, you know, and to this rollout of what appears to be even more, you know, locking down and all this kind of stuff with giving everyone jabs and so on and so forth? Is this going to just proceed, or is the war going to start interfering with that timeline?
They will continue until 2/3 of the population fights against them.
Okay, so we've got quite a ways to go. That may never happen. I mean, quite honestly.
Well,
2/3, you know.
2/3 of the population wakes up to the fact that what they're doing is wrong. Let's put it that way, and fights against it, because they are still under the impression that there's a 17.8% chance that they can form their negative timeline again, right? That they won in some theory, right? So they forgot about quantum physics. They forgot about the string theory. They forgot about a lot of things that makes that not possible. But if you're a dying animal, right? If you're the deep state and you're in a plane and the plane's on fire and you have a parachute that has a 17.8% chance of opening, are you going to jump? You probably would, right? The plane's burning, it's going down, you're on fire, you grab the parachute. I tell you, it's only got a 17.8% chance of opening. You're probably going to take your chances because 17.8% chance to stay alive is better than zero.
I happen to know that the deep state's philosophy is if we can't have it, then no one can. So they have an end game involved here on planet Earth from their perspective. So at some point there has to be intervention to stop that, plan. So if it isn't 2/3 of the population,
It's us.
Sorry?
It's us. I mean, the others are helping as well.
Right.
We've finally gotten to the point after we passed the infraction point, which was on the Monday following the 8th. So it was a couple days later. We're past that infraction point, or the opportunity for them to violate the transition to the light timeline, right? So that's good. Now they've decided that it's only the remnants that are causing the problem. So the Sanhedrin's gone, that coven's gone, the other coven's gone. Now we're at coven members or deep state folks, right? Actual people. So,
okay, but you're still seeing Trump and his group as the enemy. Yes.
well, if you're trying to sell me poison and tell me that it's a good idea I become a nanobot, I'd say that's bad. That falls under the bad category.
Yeah,
for
but
me.
they're fully on board with that agenda.
Oh, he doesn't care what he has to do for power. He doesn't care.
Okay, that seems kind of. First of all, it doesn't. There's a certain personality thing that I don't quite get. I don't pick that up about Trump. I don't actually feel that he's power hungry.
Okay. His face is all over everything. His name is over every building he ever built, every golf course.
Yeah,
everything he does bears. He flies around on a gold-plated jet.
I know, but this is how these, it's like, it's a symbol. So it's kind of like, doesn't really matter. It's just a symbol. It's a symbol of what they're trying to achieve. Now, in your view, it's an egotistical symbol, and I get that that's what he projects.
It's a narcissistic symbol, actually.
Okay, narcissism, egotism, whatever. So same thing. So, but the question is whether or not they actually see an end game ahead in which they are the victors. Okay, so. And what you're posing, again, which has, I know you have your own sort of platform, but it's actually not out there other than through some of the Ashiana Demon materials, which I talk about, but no one else does. So it's a very small amount of people that are even aware that there is an alternative that involves other races grouping together to, provide an alternative, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're calling yourself an ambassador. I could call myself an ambassador. Ashiana Dean would probably call herself an ambassador. There are those among us who got pieces of the puzzle and were able to kind of run with it on some level. But
define run with it.
Well, in my case, educate people.
Yeah.
That's basically.
And I think that's great, actually.
Yeah, it's very important. So once people are educated, then they can make their own decisions, and then we might have the 2/3 majority you're talking about, which will stop this madness, which is, of course, the whole purpose of this conversation, is to, bring, some kind of understanding to the planet, and so that this planet does not go down a timeline of further enslavement, obviously. So,
well, we won't. It'll just take, if you want them to stop, right, doing what they're doing, we as humanity have to start transitioning into a better ecosystem and a better way. So once that is done, and we just basically stop virtually ignoring, we could have ignored them pretty much our whole American existence, right? Until they came out with COVID. No wars on American soil. What's that saying? You don't poop where you eat, right? So, the transition over to China was preset in 1975, and it was supposed to be complete by 2022. China has even stated that they are going a different course. So this happened several months ago. Yes.
Okay, which is what?
They're not going for the transition world domination plan where the world control center, like US has been, right, moves then to China.
So they've decided not to pursue that. So why go to war with them if they're backing down?
Because they're partners with Russia, and you need a boogeyman that's big enough to conquer the US, or at least look like a threat to the US.
Well, they've got to have, how do you say his name? Who's in charge of China? I mean, it's well known that he has actually wanted to dominate the world, to run the world forever.
Well, sure, because he's a member of the Golden Dragon family. He's elite. And so.
Okay. So if
Sure.
you say, but you're kind of, it's not clear who's really running China, who's making China decide suddenly they don't want to dominate. She doesn't appear to be backing off that platform. So who is backing off? One of the Chinese elders or several of them? What's the thought there?
Well, when you say this is the dog and pony show in the front, right? The whole world is run in the back, that. So
Yeah.
the CCP, right? Black Dragon, Black whatever, Black
Right.
Water, Black Sun, they're more concerned, Black Water just arrived. They have a partnership with the Black Dragon in Afghanistan, selling seats purportedly at $6,500 a pop to extract people, but that's a lie. They're there to re-up the partnership in the opium trade, cut out the middleman, the Americans. That's it. So that'll continue. They don't have the money to do what they want to do. Those stores of gold and stuff they talk about, that's all a lie. They do have an inverted mountain there that goes to the wrong place. I know that for a fact.
Okay. That's kind of, we are going to wrap this up, but just one last question, because people will want to know this. There's a lot of talk about the gold, okay, and where the gold is and who has the control of the gold and this and that. So what would you say to that? Where is the gold mainly, and who has control of it?
The gold that is already mined is down in other land for safekeeping. It is close to its respective location to where it originated, not where it was stolen and moved to. On the flip side, all the mountains that we talk about with the minerals and all that, that's all leveraged to the AI system. That's what I meant by M had everything he wanted before he cut him off. So there's really not a nugget of unmined anything important that's not already leveraged. And the money already came out and was given to the order or the Illuminati or whatever you want to call them.
Okay, what do you mean the money already came out? I mean, the others are not going to give them the money. So what do you mean?
Okay, so as one example, England went around, hundreds of years ago, planting flags all over the place and just saying we won, right?
Yeah.
So that being said, once they planted their flag, they claimed the land, a bond would be issued against the actual minerals and in-ground assets of said country. Then that bond would go into the back system and the money would come out, or bonds would come out, or whatever they were exchanging after the 1500s, right? It's money by then. So they got the money, which was supposed to develop the country, and it didn't. Right? They didn't. They caused wars. They figured they could make more money on war than they could on developing anything. Mm-hmm. So that is the way the world continued until 2007. And
so when Marduk basically took, it's kind of interesting because you're trying to paint Marduk in this role, which sounds like he became a good guy at some point.
No. No, he was never a good person, ever, or whatever that is.
Okay,
He was
I mean, that's my
horrible.
understanding
He
as
was
well.
charming
But
and manipulative and cunning, kind of like that guy in the weird leisure suit at the bar that's like, hey, what's your sign? That was like M. He would be very, hey, let's, I really like you. And oh, you did such a great job. Or oh, you didn't pass the test.
okay,
You
but
know,
what in essence I'm saying here is that you've just described that all the money has already been distributed in a certain sense, but you're saying, because
Sure.
the question was, where's all the gold? And you're saying it's
And the
basically
answer to the question is it's not just gold, it's rare earth minerals, it's everything of value that is
right.
currently unmined in the ground.
Mhm.
The already mined gold that everybody talks about that's in bunkers is not in bunkers anymore. It never was. Those were tunnels and entryways down to the other land. Back about 2012 to 2017, everybody flew around everywhere and we pulled it up back underground. That was all that happened. So if it was underground in Indonesia, that's not Indonesia's
So,
gold, that's
okay,
Russia's
but
gold. It's
Marduk
now under
had the
Russia.
control of that at that time, or no?
Was I?
Marduk, did he have control of the gold when that happened? When it was all pulled underground, did he control it at that point or no?
I would say he would have until 2016, yeah.
Until you, in essence, knocked him out, but he didn't die if you knocked him out, right?
Not at that time. He died in August of 2016.
Okay, and did somebody kill him, or did he die of, if the Anunnaki do such thing, die of natural causes?
Let's just say that, at some point you can only annoy people so much before you have to leave. You can only steal, cheat, lie,
Okay,
manipulate.
so you're saying someone took him out.
I saw him die. Let's put it
Okay,
this way.
but
He's a jumper. He can jump dimensions.
it
I mean,
wasn't
I
a
saw him
human.
die.
I'm assuming it wasn't a human that killed him, right?
Maybe Source did it.
Okay, that's going pretty far up the chain. Maybe you don't have to go quite that far.
Etherically, it would have been Source.
Okay, but that's kind of general. Okay, well, let's just say the others. Someone among the others must have taken him out if you say the others now control the gold and everything else, right?
They're not in control of it. They're guarding it till we can figure out. Gold is not of significant value to them. Other minerals
I was
are.
using that as an example of,
Yeah, they're guarding it right now because we are not capable
wealth.
of bringing it to the surface. We would all lose. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think we've covered a lot. I think that people will be, going crazy over all this information. Those that haven't heard any of it may, kind of be lost, but others who followed my work anyway, will certainly be picking up a lot and understanding. All right. So I think we kind of have discussed that we're kind of on the verge of what may be a war that's been, custom ordered to happen. And what do they think they're going to achieve by this war at the end of the war? Let's say there is a war in the next, I don't know, few years. Other than decimating, getting rid of a lot of population, anything particular coming out of the war?
Well, in the words of Mr. Klaus, when he called General Raymond last night, he told him that we need to control all the population of the world. It is our right? We're entitled to it. Mm-hmm. And it is our job, or whatever he said. And he said, I don't care, vaccines, we'll do whatever you got to do to make it happen. And he took the order, and now we're at DEFCON 2. So that was yesterday. So I am sure that is their goal. And we have other plans, right? Wouldn't you say, as humanity? Sure. We are the creative ones. We have a lot more abilities than we think we do. Mm-hmm. We can change the world just by manifesting things on an etherical level, and you can do it, right? Absolutely. We just need to, I love Penny Kelly. I know you interviewed her. She's great. She talks about plasma. I'm talking about it as ether or etherical level. Same thing. Yeah.
Okay, and I talk about plasma and the light body
Yep.
and all of that, and long before she was
Oh
talking.
yeah. I mean, you've been around. I mean,
So,
you were basically started one of the starters of the alternative
and I
medicine.
talk a lot about our ability to basically, we can handle and create scalar waves and create change
Mhm.
through using scalar and so and so.
All by
So that's on
yourself.
several of my video blogs and my articles and all of this. So people who know my work are familiar with this, and they, people have gradually become more and more aware of our abilities as, humans to manifest and change reality. So there's no doubt. It's just a matter of people beginning to work together, and certainly having conversations like this is a good start. So,
So is there going to be a war? The answer to the question is, do you want one? Will you allow one to happen? Do you want to manifest something different? Now, when you're manifesting, we want certain things. Like, for example, we want all our children to be fed. Every child on the earth should eat today, right? These are the things that we want. Do we want to manifest? Do we care who's president? If we can create our own world, if we want to manifest a mansion or a Ferrari or whatever it is you want, right? Or the perfect love relationship. I truly believe you can do that just by manifesting. I know it works, right? And you know it works, Kerry. So it's not a surprise, but we have to teach people how to do this instead of living in fear of, is there going to be a war with Russia? Is Trump coming back? Is he not coming back? Is he a good guy or a bad guy? It's irrelevant when you can do this all yourself. It doesn't matter if you are a QFS. Just remember it, right? Remember, you are a QFS. You're processing information on a quantum level when you're dealing with the, like you said, plasma, etherical, your light body. That's what you're doing. You are a personal QFS. You can be your own ATM machine. Does it matter? Do you need another person? The answer to the question is no, you don't.
okay, well, there is a certain amount of, what we call it governance, call it a planetary, on a planetary level. So this is something that we are having to deal with. So we're dealing with the races, the incoming races. Some are friendly, some are not, so and so. So there, we're talking on, on a larger scale, dealing with this, and indeed this council that you're also interacting with as an investor, right? So we would be also dealing with them and they with us. And so in that role, you have to, in theory, it's facilitated by having individuals who represent the people on some level. Because you can't, if it's just one-on-one, it's not, it's chaos, I guess you might say. So
Well, yes, to an
we need
extent,
agreement.
right?
We need
But
communication and agreement and channels. And there are even off planet, and it would seem in terms of your universal council,
mhm.
some degree of hierarchy within that group.
I would say it's not really a hierarchy. It's there's an understanding amongst the members, right? And everyone votes and everybody participates. I would say there's someone at the bench that would ask questions like, were you there when this happened or whatever it is, right? And then you have a commentator that if you go and say we have a question like, well, I'm having an issue with the quantum system. What do I do, right? And then the commentator will pick the best suited person to answer the question. And that could go for anyone, right? So,
right, but if two planets are in disagreement over some territory or part of the system, or traveling from one part of the system to another, there have to be, like in any kind of organization of beings, there have to be, and there are, this, that there are beings that do come here for meetings, even
yep,
now, treaty meetings.
yep.
Lots of treaties get broken, lots of discussions go on,
Mhm.
and they are dealing with this group we call
They have
Black
formed a
Suns
council.
and
They
Hedron.
have formed a council this year officially. first time here. They don't want to be called the World Council because they have a bad connotation. They want to be called the Earth Council, and they are made up of all the others, and we are welcome, right? There's 36 races here. There are 36 members on there, and we're the 37th, right? So to answer your question, that's what is existing here right now, living every single day with us. You know, they're not gods. They're just another race. And some of them are learning just like we are. They're more advanced than we were when at the time of takeover. Therefore, some of them, you know, we didn't have the, like, for example, they were never separated from the etherical level, and they know how to mimic, and they can do all of these types of things. And we're just learning how to do that on this generation now, right? So if you say, you know, that the Space Force knows everything, I would say no. Just like if you say, does this race know everything? I would say absolutely not. And I would say that we would, if they did, we would be doing things differently. We would have different equipment.
True, but understanding that also each of us are manifestations, that as humans, we are them and they are us in a certain sense. And so that those races are mirrored in us, right? So in essence,
We're
some
splices,
are walking around here on the planet with us, and, you know, and we are representing them as well. So, you know, if you kind of understand what I'm saying here. So I'm saying that this is going on. It's ongoing, and this interaction, it's not like there's a separate group over here and then we're over here and they're, you know, sending down information.
I consider them just like us, right? Maybe our society needs a lot of work, and I know that. But as far as, like, we just have a conversation like you're talking to anyone. If you meet someone for the first time, you introduce yourself, you ask questions about each other, right? It's the same thing. All that communication is telepathic, for the most part. So.
Okay. So at this point, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I'm sorry to keep you so long.
No, I'm sorry to keep you.